All right, Shalawam, Shalawam. Peace, Israel. This brother Zaquan from Prophets in Babylon camp down here in Tampa, Florida. I would like to give our glory, honor, and praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do teach and will well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful Lord scattered abroad. All right. And today, we're going to get into a lesson, some quick history, man, of the transatlantic slave trade, and what really happened from 1619 to 1916, what went on throughout that time period. We're gonna grab the scripts to prove, that we went through slavery, man. And the Lord told us we were gonna go through slavery. He told us the conditions we're gonna be in and everything, But I got this quick article, on Newsbreak. It says, historian discovered details on the first transport of slaves. All right. And I'll probably have either this cover image up, or another cover image. But most YAHAWAH, it'll be worked out to the spirit. But I'm gonna read some of this, and then we're gonna get into the scripts. All right, get some insight on it. It says, the early transatlantic slave trade compromised only transporting black slaves from Iberia, now occupied by Spain and Portugal, due to concern over the spread of other religions. All right, now it says compromise only transporting black slaves, which we also do know are our so-called, the Northern Kingdom brothers, the Southern Kingdom brothers, they went into slavery also, as we were getting off the slave ships, though, as we were getting off here in Babylon, Southern Kingdom was getting on, and they was getting shipped across the world over to the land known as Spain, and also, to be Hispanic, it just means property of Spain, so the brothers that went over there that called themselves Hispanic, you're just calling yourself, property of Spain. But, this is what the history is about. You have to go into it. It says, but the slave trade in the early 16th century took a different course in 1518 when King Charles I permitted Spain to bring enslaved Africans to America. This set the start of huge direct transatlantic slave trade. It says, the exact story behind this change wasn't known until historians, gathered evidence regarding the first 18 transport means for slaves towards America. All right. And let's see. Do I want to? Come on, let me grab it. Let me grab this. It says this is going into the journey that the ship had to take. It says it was clear before that the ship voyage was cruel for the slaves. The 14th century, the journey took 35 days, and during this, slaves were cramped up on the ship below without much space to move or stretch. They were also only given one meal a day and had to live in unhygienic conditions. Besides inhumane transport conditions, slaves had to endure the torture of crew members as well. It was common for crew members to practice painful torture techniques to maintain discipline on the ship. All right, so overall, they basically let we caught hell. Not only did you have to deal with torture, from these devils, you had to live in inhumane conditions. All right, and unhygienic conditions. All right, on those slave ships, there wasn't no, excuse me, master, can you untie me? I have to go use the restroom. I have to go do this and the third. No, if you had to take a shit, you laid there and shitted on yourself, and you laid in your shit. All right, slack for the vulgar language, but that's just how it was. That's cold, raw, and uncut. All right, but we're gonna grab this and we're gonna get into the book of Deuteronomy. In the Slakia, the end of Deuteronomy. Closer on to the end. But we're gonna start at Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 62. It says, "And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy power." All right. And we also know that we went into slavery, for disobeying YAHAWASHI. We went off to serving false idols, but we're going to get into that. It says, Deuteronomy 28 and 63, "And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you." All right. Whew. Wait. But we thought the Lord was all love. Bring it back. Deuteronomy 28 and 63. "And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do good, so the Lord was dealing with us. We were the Lord's people. We knew who our power was. We knew who YAHAWASHI was. The world knew who YAHAWASHI was. All right. It says, and the Lord rejoiced over you to do good and to multiply you. So the Lord, he was our living power. It says, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you. All right. The Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you. It says, and to bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked from off the land where thou goest to possess it. Gonna be taken, man. It says, Deuteronomy 28:64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth unto the other. All right. And the Lord wasn't literally just gonna come down here and pick individuals up by hand and, all right, you go go over here, you go over here. Oh, I want to put you over here. No. How else are we gonna be caused to be scattered, among all people? It says, from one end of the earth even unto the other. All right. And I'll tell you how, through the 1619, the transatlantic slave trade. All right. And, I'll grab the other script to clarify later on how we even got in that position, on the land we were on, to be put in that position. But it says, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. All right. So the Lord, he set us in other in the strange land, and Jacob was worshiping idols, wood and stone. That's what the Lord said, even wood and stone, idols that cannot save themselves. These idols were not like YAHAWASHI. They're not living, not living and breathing. It says, and thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And also we understand that we are our forefathers. All right. You understand that we were our forefathers, and we went through this. We were the slaves. We were on those slave ships. All right. There's probably some pictures that you can pull up, and you might see somebody who resembled a brother now on this side. That might have been that brother in that time, man, or for that photo. You never know. But it says, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, which means you're gonna be working. All right. The scriptures, the Lord said, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." The Lord set us in a strange land for us to what? And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, which means we're gonna be working. The Lord set us in a strange land to work. Why? Because we disobeyed Him and we went into serving false gods. We turned away from our true living power, YAHAWASHI. It says, and among these nations thou shalt serve, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. So the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart, a failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. All right. It means Jacob was catching hell. All right. We was around all these heathens, these other nations, just catching straight hell. The Lord gave us trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. All right. So the Lord's making sure that we felt this. We had to understand where we fell short and where we went wrong. To now understand. We went off. We were wrong. We deserved that. The Lord turned His face from us before a little moment, but that little moment is 400 plus years. Of straight bondage, rigorous slavery. It says, Deuteronomy 28:66, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and thou shalt have none assurance of thy life. Especially, think about this, say it's slavery times, and you're a baby, you born into slavery, and you just there, you getting your ass whooped, you catching hell, you can't look these devils in the face, you can't do none of that, How would you think? And the scriptures, they come to life, when you live, when you read the scriptures, it's like a visualizer, The Lord, the scripture, literally it says, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. When you were a slave, you had no assurance of your life. All you knew was get up, do what master say. If not, you're going to get your ass whooped. After you do what you had to do, eat your little crumbs, go in your shack, lay down, next thing, repeat it, next day, That's having no assurance of your life, just blindly living, you know. And that was hell. You know, that's very fearful. That's hell. To not have any assurance of your life. You there working, getting beat on, you know, and barely eating crumbs. You know, that's hell. It says, in the morning thou shalt say, would Yahawah it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would Yahawah it were morning. All right, would Yahawah it were morning. For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. Here's the point. And the Lord Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. All right, Egypt goes into bondage, which means captivity. It says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. All right, we were going into bondage, you know, which was like our last captivity, but this Egypt wasn't going to look like the last Egypt. All right, the scripture it says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt, which we know is bondage, again with ship, aka also known as captivity. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Which meaning nobody can save you. Once Yahawah has you in his hand, that's it. It says, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Basically, slaves. You're going to be sold to be slaves. Okay? And we're going to grab this. Baruch 4:6. It says, you were sold to the nations, not for your destruction. So the Lord didn't do this to destroy us. No, quite the opposite. But because ye moved Yahawah to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies. All right, we moved the Lord to wrath. You know, so he delivered us unto our enemies. He gave us over to our enemies. Like I said, the Lord turned his face on us before a moment, and that short moment the Lord turned his face. That was 400 plus years. All right. We moved Yahawah because we have through faith. You know, you have to believe. We are our forefathers, so we moved Yahawah to wrath. It says, and then ye were delivered unto your enemies. So the Lord delivered us into our enemies into captivity. You know, and we had none assurance of our life, none assurance of our life. You know, and this is, you know, to know the backstory. They always say, you know, Jake, oh y'all are black, y'all are from Africa, y'all are, you know, this, that, and the third. You know, and to know the history, you have to understand we got to Africa because we fled. You know, we're going to go back into Matthew 24:15. Then when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, this, you know, the siege of Jerusalem, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains, and the mountains was going into the west shores of Africa. All right, Jerusalem was being sieged, and we fled into the mountains, which was the west shores of Africa. And the Hamites, which is the Africans that are known today, they sold us into the Edomites, into slavery. You know, and that's where the narrative of, oh, you're from Africa, go back to Africa. No, we're not African. If an Israelite stands next to a Hamite, you can clearly distinct. You would say, in regular terms, you would say, okay, this man's an African and this is a black man. All right, you can clearly distinct that. You know. So that cuts all of that at the door. It says, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains, all right, into the west shores of Africa. And then we were sold from the west shores of Africa from the Hamites to the Edomites, you know, and we were brought over here to Babylon, and we came into Egypt. Also, like I said, we came into bondage. Egypt is going into bondage, and like we said, we seen Egypt no more, which means it wasn't going to look like the last Egypt. It was going to be a whole new captivity. You know, it's still going to be bondage, but it wasn't going to be the same as before, you know. And, you know, and also, they won't teach you this in school. You know, the first slave ship, you know, that was used to enslave so-called blacks, African Americans, and, you know, Native American Indians, you know, and so-called Hispanics. It was called the Good Ship Jesus, all right. You can look this up. You know, you don't have to believe anything we tell you. You know, always go, as elders apostles tell you, you know, go back and research it for yourself. You can go back and look it up, search it up. But these same devils that tell you, you know, that they care about you to your face, they mocked you and told you got to pray to Jesus. And the first slave ship was the Good Ship Jesus, you know. It just goes to show you, you know, that this man is the devil, man. And we've been, as a whole, we've been dealing with it from 1619 to 1916. You know, through that time period, man, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI was really letting us have it, because we brought the Lord to anger. We went out into serving false gods, so the Lord, he judged us. All right, we must understand that, and that's a part of the history. All right, but YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA. This lesson was edifying and straight and to the point. BARAK, YAHAWASHI. Let, you know, the brothers and sisters that are watching this be edified. With that, I like to say Shalawam, and again, give all glory, honor, praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH. Next time I do say Shalawam and a Bible ball soon.